Most people try to fix their content by posting more, they try fixing captions, or even trying to be more consistent. But scattered messaging almost never comes from not trying hard enough. It comes from skipping one internal step. And today I'm going to show you what that step is. And I'm actually going to give you 5 out of the 12 signs that I created to let you know if you might be stuck in a clarity gap. If even one of these hits, you'll know exactly how to fix them in today's episode. So grab your cup of whatever is keeping you grounded and let's dive in. Welcome to Heart Led CEO, the podcast for women wellness entrepreneurs who are ready to build, scale, and automate their businesses without sacrificing their soul, sanity, or authenticity. I'm Anacani Walters, a nurse turned entrepreneur, military spouse, first time mama in my 40s, and a recovering burnout survivor who's making it a mission to help heart led women just like you create thriving businesses that really feel good, do good, and give you the freedom that we all deserve. Because here's the thing, you don't have to hustle harder to succeed. You don't have to drown in tech overwhelm or try to do everything alone. And I'm here to give you the strategies, automation tools, and mindset shifts that will help you step fully into that leader, CEO, and impact maker that you are meant to be. If you're ready to grow your business in a way that aligns with your values and your life, you are in the right place. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, my beautiful, and welcome back. Now, let's get honest because you know that I love to be honest. And if you are listening and you're a heart led, maybe you're military connected, you could be also neurodivergent, and most of us who are listening are most likely multi passionate. And your content is all of a sudden starting to feel heavier than it should. Know that this is not a talent problem. It is not an effort problem either. This tends to actually be a clarity problem. And clarity problems are not something that you can just fix easily by becoming more consistent and posting more, which is our typical go to for trying to get things fixed like this. They actually get fixed by identifying where the message is actually breaking in your marketing, in your system. And I want to give you 5 of the 12 signs that I have for knowing whether or not you have a clarity gap. Now, listen for the one that makes you uncomfortable because that's usually the one that we really need to figure out how we can not fix, but just adjust to. So, sign number one, you keep tweaking instead of actually deciding. I know this one's a big one. So, if you post and then immediately delete after you see it in your own thread or rewatch it if it's real, if you rewrite the same caption over and over, trying to perfect it and tweaking, that used to be me, my friend. So please do not feel any type of judgment here. Or maybe you change hooks like 3 times before you hit publish, or you end up re recording the same thing over and over and changing it constantly. Guess what? You have not clearly defined these 3 things: the exact audience that you're helping, the exact problem that they struggle with, and the exact transformation that you provide. You should be able to say, I help your specific audience who struggle with their specific problem, create or experience, and then the transformation you provide. Not something vague or poetic, but very specific. And if that sentence then starts to shift depending on who you're talking to, then your foundation tends to not be stable yet. And it's just something that we need to work on. Now, sign number two, people resonate with what you're putting out, but they don't move forward in the process. They say it's powerful and how it resonated, and they're so happy that they found you in their thread or they got to read it or listen to it. It is exactly what they needed to hear on that specific day. But then they don't download your podcast or they don't send you a message with the trigger word. They don't take any of the next steps. And that means that your content has the emotion that it needs, but it's lacking that direction that the people are looking for. Every single thing that you put out there has to have one job. One of my favorite coaches, Leonie Dawson, has a beautiful analogy. It's basically giving a monkey just one banana. If you go to the zoo and you try to give the monkey 10 bananas or 5 bananas, the monkey's gonna look at you and be like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" They're gonna focus on the wrong thing. They're like, "Why do you have so many bananas?" Or, "Why are you giving me 5? What do you want me to do with all of these?" Instead of giving them 1 banana, and they know exactly what to do with it. They know that it needs to be peeled, that it needs to be eaten, and that's that. And that's usually where we tend to go wrong and we end up giving them more than one job on our post. And we need not 5, 1. If you didn't decide that job before you started writing or creating the content, then your post or whatever it is that you're creating, a blog, a podcast, or whatever, starts to tend to just kind of wander in that black void, and wandering content does not convert. Sign number three, you struggle to explain what you actually do. If someone asks you, "So, what do you do?" and you freeze, you give them the deer in the headlight look, you fumble over your words, it feels like your brain just went blank. You're like, uh, uh, or my favorite, you give different answers depending on who's asking. Please do not convince yourself that this is just being like versatile. It is not. That is a lack of positioning. And it happens a lot with multi passionate women, such as myself, especially if you're a military entrepreneur who pivots often. Now, I know that a lot of neurodivergent founders, we think that we see so many layers at once and that everybody else can see that with us. But marketing requires a very primary identity. Now, it does not need to be your identity forever, but for right now, if you want clarity, you have to choose what you are known for in this season, and then you can evolve later. But you cannot market 10 identities at once. It is not going to work. I had this problem way before I decided to brand myself and brand Anacani Walters. I literally was trying to put everything that I do under one business, one brand, one identity. And people had no idea what I was really good at, what I was doing. They were confused. And a lot of people just wanted to be nice and they felt rude asking. So they just didn't bother, engaging or following or doing any of the stuff because they were really, really confused. And I got so bad. At one point, I finally was like, shit, I'm confused. I'm confusing my damn self. So know that you are not alone. I have gone through that growing pain, but it is something that once you can identify that that is you, it is completely fixable. So is everything else that I've been talking about. Now, sign number 4, everything feels equally important. You have multiple offers and multiple audiences and multiple ideas that feel beautiful and aligned. But if everything is equal, then guess what? Nothing will be prioritized. So you need to ask yourself, if I could only lead with one offer or one lead magnet for the next 30 days, which one would I protect? Because that answer tells you where your focus belongs. And clarity requires some form of hierarchy. Otherwise, it just becomes chaos. Sign number five, content feels heavier than it used to. And this kind of sometimes just comes and goes, and you just need to be cognitive of it. If content feels draining now, when it used to feel really easy, do not assume that that is just some sign that you're burnt out and you need some R&R. Sometimes the real issue is that you've just grown in your business, in your personal life. You've grown and your identity has now evolved and you've become a different person. Your responsibilities may have shifted, but your messaging, it just hasn't caught up. And when you are trying to force something that no longer really fits with the time that you're in, the phase, the season that you're in, then it starts to create friction when you start to try to show up. I have gone through multiple seasons of having this until it really was like, oh, that's what's going on. And instead of like when I moved from Japan back to the United States, instead of hiding or masking or pretending that none of that was happening, I started to like bring people on the journey and be like, this is what it's like to literally be in the military as a dependent. You feel like you're being evicted from your life. And a lot of people just don't realize what goes into being a military spouse. It is a lot harder than people make it out to be. And I wanted to make sure people knew, and I wasn't going to apologize for any of the stuff that I was going through. I was going to just go at my own pace and bring people along for the journey. And sometimes when you try to ignore it or to pretend that nothing is changing and you're exactly who you were when you first started, that friction begins to feel like the resistance that you're feeling now. But it's actually just misalignment of where you are. I had to do a huge change in a lot of what I was doing when I became pregnant. I knew when I became pregnant that when I had the baby, things were going to change, but when they actually did change, I just was like, "Holy seaweeds. This is not what I expected it to be." And it was just this continuation as my son was evolving in his infancy and me learning as a first-time parent the realities of what my life was really gonna look like, and then trying to figure out, "Okay, well, how is this gonna look like for my business?" And then really being open about that really helps so that you avoid that misalignment, you know, quicker. So, those are the 5 out of the 12 signs of a clarity gap. There are 7 more that show up in very subtle ways. Quick pause here, beautiful. Everything that I am sharing this month is really about making content feel lighter, more human, and more importantly, sustainable, especially if showing up has really started to feel heavier than it used to for you. And if you want a really playful, fun, low pressure way to put ideas into action, to really make content and have it be a fun experience, you can check out the Embrace the Sparks Content Bingo Challenge at empowerherwave.com/bingo. It is designed completely to support consistency in the way consistency means for you without needing to literally post every single day. And if you want my full system behind the frameworks that I'm teaching, the Alchemized Content Method is available at empowerherwave.com/ACM. You can use the code LOVE97 at checkout for $100 off all of February. Take what serves you, leave the rest, and let's keep going. especially again for heart led entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who are military connected, neurodivergent founders, and multi passionate business owners. If you want the full checklist of all 12 signs so that you can properly self audit yourself, all you have to do is go to my Instagram. My handle is at Empower Her Wave. Find any of my posts that I've posted myself and then comment 12. TWELVE, the word 12. And I will send you the full clarity gap checklist. And I want you to have the information that you need, the roadmap to make this an incredibly effective and fast journey to that clarity that we all really want because it just changes so much for you. Before you create anything, just check three things. What do I stand for right now? Who am I speaking to? And what step do I want them to take? If those three things are really super clear, then your content is going to feel lighter. This isn't about perfection or judgment, it's about awareness. And that's really why I built the Clarity Gap Diagnostic. It's not about judgment or telling you that you need to work harder or that you need to fix all these things. It is just the gentle slow down to make sure that we are being conscious and aware of where clarity is leaking in our business because some gaps need focus while some need structure and others just need support. But you can't fix what you cannot see. And clarity, again, doesn't come from doing more. It really does come from deciding before you create. And if one of these signs even felt slightly familiar or made you really feel uncomfortable, that's the one that I want you to start with. If you need help spotting your gap, you might want to look at the rest to see if any of those actually align where you're struggling with. Now, before I let you go, I would just want to try something with you. And just for a moment, I want you to close your eyes and take a nice inhale in through your nose, into that belly, shoulders up, back, down as you exhale. And there's going to be two versions that I want you to imagine. So let's start with this first one. As you're sitting down at your beautiful desk, maybe you're at a cafe and you're getting ready to write a post. As soon as you start to actually think about what to write, your brain starts to race and you start typing and then you stop. You start rereading and then you delete the whole thing. And then you stare and your brain starts racing again. And then you change directions completely and go in a different way. And then you stop again. And then you start to read what you wrote. And then you start wondering if it sounds good. Are people going to like it? And then you start to feel slightly tight in your chest. And then you start to get that feeling of deleting that post again. That's unsettled. That's the feeling of being unsettled in your messaging and in your clarity. Now take a deep breath. Shake your hands, exhale, let that go. Take one more full breath in. Close your eyes, nice slow exhale. And picture yourself sitting back down at this beautiful desk. Maybe you're at a beautiful cafe, sipping on a beautiful coffee or a latte or a tea. And you sit down and you smile, you're happy, and you already know the one thing that you're going to say. and you already know who it's for. You can even picture your dream client that you're writing this for. And as you're writing it down, you're visioning them reading it, and you smile and you finish it. And instead of doing all the things that you normally would do, you don't reread it. You just hit post and you sit back and you smile and you feel good inside. You take a sip. That is settled. Now, the only difference between those two versions of you is one made the decision before she started. And that's the one that we're trying to reach today. So I hope this episode resonated with you. I hope that you were able to take something from it. And as always, continue to be you, continue to be beautiful, and continue leading from your heart. I will catch you in the next episode. All right, beautiful. That's a wrap on today's episode. But before you go, let's talk about something really important. You are not just another entrepreneur trying to figure things out alone. You are a wave leader, someone whose work is meant to create real impact, touch the lives of others, and make this world better. And I want you to know you don't have to do it alone. If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to keep this energy going inside of my free Facebook community, Empower Her Biz Collective. It's where we take these conversations deeper with live trainings, tech walkthroughs, and real heart-centered support from other women wellness entrepreneurs who really get it. So if you're ready for community, clarity, and support as you build your own business with heart and ease, I'd invite you to come and join us. You'll find the link in the show notes. And hey, if you love today's episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review if you feel inclined, and share this with a fellow heart-led women entrepreneur so that we can build this movement together. Until next time, keep leading with heart.